Hello everybody, welcome to another rapid speedrun game against Star 77, rated 1700. Let's try to get a Ruy Lopez into a Philidor. So against the Philidor, we're going to play d4, just open up our pieces. He takes, we recapture our pawn. You could take either way. This game we'll play with the knight. You could take with the queen, and when he attacks the queen, just pin the knight. But don't take with the queen if you're just going to retreat it. Only if you're going to pin after that. But in that case, you have to give up your bishop. So we'll just play with the knight. And he brings out his knight. What does this threaten? The pawn in the center. Let's defend the pawn and develop simultaneously. That's a weird move. He brings his queen into the center. What does this threaten? The pawn. It also creates a pin. Quite odd. This may look weird, but I'm going to go f3. It neutralizes all the pressure. It also makes his queen misplaced and dumb. He'll have to spend at least 2 tempi to develop the bishop. I could easily castle king queen side if I think f3 is unsafe. But okay. He goes b6. This looks slow. His bishop already had a diagonal. He's wasting another turn, creating light square weaknesses, threatening nothing. Fine. Since he's weakening his light squares and our bishop's kind of hemmed in here, we can develop it. Let's develop, give this check. It coordinates on the newly weakened c6 square. So I kind of really am starting to, this sounds weird, but dislike openings and just like responsive chess. Openings, they put you in this weird frame of mind that I don't like. I very much like move by move play. So he goes here. What does this threaten? A bishop trade. It also looks at the square. Okay. I think I can castle. I can develop my bishop. I can potentially go a4. Really cementing the weaknesses if he takes. I'm going to go a4 because if he does take me, having a pawn on b5, makes my rook super awesome without having to move, and b really makes these two backwards pawns and super weak. So instead of taking, he tries to kick my bishop. So if we take, I mean, maybe he'll develop a knight, but then you can go knight c6. That's annoying. If you retreat, you give him the turn back. Let's trade. See if he takes with the knight. And by the way, you could retreat. Like, that's not a bad move, but I'm just showing you, let's take. He goes here, but now I'm going to throw my knight in here with tempo. And the queen can't go to d7 to flush it out. So this takes away super important rook squares, as well as queen squares. Because now his queen has to go forward, which is awkward. We have this beautiful knight entrenched in his position. I'd like to get my king out of this alignment. So let's castle. I don't care that this diagonal's open because of my f-pawn. Totally irrelevant. His king and queen are lined up. So it's natural to look at rook e1. Knight in the center after that, so that if he takes, it opens up. Knight in the center. Immediately, it threatens a lot of stuff, but he'll probably just take. And then you take with a pawn, hits his queen moves somewhere. You give the check, his bishop blocks, but then that's hanging. Yeah, this knight's super strong, so maybe I can immediately just throw my knight here. He goes g6, another extremely slow move, trying to fianchetto and castle. But if I go here, I'm threatening a triple fork. He'll almost certainly take. If I take with the pawn, I'm hitting the queen. Queen has to move, can't stay on the e-file. So wherever it goes, check. King can't move, check. I think that wins piece at least. So let's go here and see how he reacts. Maybe he just fianchettos and lets me take his queen. A lot of you probably only saw the king and rook at first, but it also forks the queen. He takes, but because he didn't castle and it's move 13, he's going to suffer. Now our knight is actually defended by a pawn, which is even more incredible than the knight loose. Although it's a very nice and safe cubbyhole. So he moves the queen, but here comes the boom. And the knight covers the escape square, which makes him have to put something here. And even though his queen defends that square, it's you would have to give up the queen. So the game is over, and our position looks great. You got to see an exception on when playing f3 does not weaken your king when it's not relevant. You got to see an example of taking advantage of your opponent's weaknesses by putting the knight in the hole. You got to see a new idea for a lot of you, a4, trying to entrench that pawn on b5 so he can never break because of en passant. Okay, he jumps his knight in the center, trying to block, but this fails for many reasons. First of all, f4 wins that piece. He's also not addressing the issue of his king. Not that he could. Anyway, do we have better than f4 though? Probably not. Okay, let's play f4. I guess he can move his king here, but okay, so he just goes here. He wants the castle, but this comes with tempo on the queen, which is annoying for him. So he takes, but that pawn's hanging with check. Also with discoveries, so if he castles, you have another fork. He could throw in the check here, check here. He can get out of it. We are up a piece. We don't need to take a pawn. If we do give this check, though, then he can't castle, so it might be worth it. He'll go, I don't know, king f8. And then what? I can go queen e2. I can go bishop g5, hitting his queen. I mean, I'm sure it's good for me, so let's just do it. I don't know the exact lines, but it can't be bad. I don't really care that his bishop stares at it. So he does go to f8. Develop a piece for free. Can't be too bad, right? Aims at the king. I kind of want to get my queen to f3 and my rook to f1. Something like that. But I want everything to come with for free. Oh, that loses the queen immediately, which is what I was hoping for. His position was lost either way, or clearly terrible either way. And he resigns. So 19 moves. Excellent example of king getting stuck in the center. You could put this in a book. But let's go through the game so that you can do the same thing. But not through memorization. I don't like memorization in chess. Okay, so we play e4, he goes e5. We bring out a piece towards the center, attack his pawn. We now attack his pawn. This is a threat. His pawn is hanging. So we create a new threat while opening up our bishop diagonal. He takes. We don't want to be down material. Force move. Now we see he's attacking our pawn, so we develop and defend. So far everything's logical. Now he attacks our pawn again, and we defend. Doing it this way means that adding attackers will have no effect. If you defend with a piece, then all the pressure from the knight and queen is still relevant. You defend with a pawn, the pressure's irrelevant. And you can see that this diagonal is not anything to be worried about. Already it says we're plus 2.3, so it's almost like you're winning. a strong player would be winning here as white. And you didn't do anything. You just brought out two knights and played f3. So, and this guy's rated 1700, but you see how he's just weakening his own position? I'm not doing it. He's doing it. And your opponents will be doing it too. So just keep bringing pieces out, and they're going to mess up their own stuff. So we throw in a developing move with a check and targeting the weakness. He blocks. Now, I said you had multiple moves here. I wanted to show you a new idea, a4, which protects the bishop. If he takes and you take, I mean, it stops these pawn advances because you can always en passant. He can't develop his knight to its best square. You can hop your knight in. It's really terrible. That's the idea. So he doesn't take. He just tries to kick me. Although I do want to see what's the absolute best move if you're not just trying to play for ideas. Is it a4? Okay, so bishop trade. Bishop trade or a4, basically the same. There's also knight f5, which is clever because the bishop's pinned. It's not as good. It's almost as good. I'm not sure what it does once the queen moves, but it's kind of cool. Okay, so I do like our move. Nice. And here, probably because he has no space, maybe not trading the bishop might be the best, but who knows. I just didn't like the fact that once I move my bishop, he then coordinates on the c6 square with his own pieces. Okay, so best is to trade. That's good. Oh my god, that's so funny. It says I have one mistake of the game, 0 inaccuracy, 0 blunders, 18 cent a pawn. One mistake. And it was the move that I thought was like so obviously the good one. So here I just instantly threw my knight to c6. How can you resist such a move? Just throwing your knight into c6, hitting the queen. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? How could that possibly be a mistake? That's crazy. But apparently it is a mistake. The best move was to castle. It's not even on the list. So clearly I'm missing something. So bishop g5, castle, a4. So these are all just normal moves as if nothing is going on. So then why is this such a bad move? Because queen e6, which is what he did in the game, right? Isn't that what he did in the game? And then I castled, which is the best move. And now his best move is queen c4. Hitting my knight. Forcing my knight to go back because I can't defend it. Allowing him to then push d5 and try to break open the position. If we take the pawn, he makes a bunch of trades. Then has to find long castle. Then we go back. And we're still better. Plus 1.1. But if he finds all of these only engine moves, then he's plus 1.2. Worse. Much worse. So if he plays perfect like engine, he's much worse. So basically, the whole thing behind my move, okay, it's an obvious automatic move. It's a very natural move. It just so happens that by forcing his queen to e6, he has the extra resource queen c4. So for the time being, you would rather his queen be where it is. And that nuance makes this from, plus 2.5 to plus 1.5. Therefore, it's a mistake. It does make sense when you look at it move by move, because getting to c4 is annoying because your knight's just not defended. So if you're a little more developed, castle, bring out your bishop, maybe he does, the sequence will change, making knight c6 a lot stronger if you wait. It's not like he can cover this square with any pieces, so it's not like it's going anywhere. And even if you play c5, Although it's not as cool because it's not backwards, his position is still terrible. That would create different holes. But okay, I'm not going to harp on this. It's a beautiful automatic move, and chances of him finding the perfect engine line, or not just him, your opponent, not very good. And even if they do, you're better. So we castle the move they wanted us to make. They still want him to go queen c4, but he doesn't find it. The instant he doesn't make queen c4, his position collapses. That really was the only engine line to like try to survive. So he goes trying to develop and get his king, and it goes immediately to plus 4.6. So huge blunder. He had to go queen c4, and we find the best move, knight in the middle. There's really nothing for him to do here, so he trades and just walks into our tactics. We give the check. We win a free piece, free stuff for free, free stuff for free. And what's the best move? Okay, it is the bishop. We develop for free, and then again win the queen. So very simple, straightforward game, and seamless. It's just smooth. It just goes. I mean, you can just see how it's just like one thing after another. It all kind of makes sense. We play based on what our opponent does. We see that we have options at different points, and we choose one or the other, you know. And then sometimes you make the most natural move and you make a mistake. It's not a big deal. You're looking for errors in thinking before you're trying to correct your errors in calculation. Calculation errors are easy. You can always train calculation at some point, seriously, and get better at it. But training how you think from move to move is way more important to correct. So work on that. And that's what no one works on, because they're just regurgitating memorized opening lines that don't even apply to the position, because maybe a3 is included or h6 included, which changes things. So good luck in your chess, and goodbye.